Lights Out in Canada is approaching at a venue where the island was built for the 1967 World's Fair. The world has gathered once again. Welcome to the Canadian Grand Prix. A 2.7-mile circuit, peaking at around 190 miles per hour. 2 DRS zones, 14 turns, tight corners everywhere you look, and a very narrow track. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks like for today's race. World champion Max Verstappen starts from pole position. A very happy Carlos Sainz will start second. Considering the rest of the grid we have Hamilton, Russell, Fernando Alonso, Gasly, Zhou, Bottas, Norris, Tsunoda, Oscar Piastri, Albon, Ricciardo, Leclerc, Hulkenberg, Ocon, Magnussen, Stroll, Surfagirl, and Logan Sargent. And now it's time to head down to the track. A warm welcome to Natalie Pinkham, who is beside me in the commentary box today. Joined once again by former Formula One driver Anthony Davidson, and they've had a lot of on-track incidents recently that could leave them low on confidence.
Certainly confidence is an important factor, and every time you're involved in an accident, it's not just the car you damage, but that confidence as well. But all the top racing drivers are able to tune that out when the race gets underway and focus on the job at hand.
Here we go then, the formation lap gets underway and the excitement here is building as we near ever closer to the start of the race. Which team will come out on top? Who's got their strategies right for today's race? Well, we'll soon find out. Cars come back to the grid to line up for the start of the race. Each driver wants to get the best start they possibly can. They'll be hoping to finish today's race on the podium, failing that within the points.
racing enabled this lap. We can use DRS when you're within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone. Okay, you're in the top 10. Okay, clear. Okay, gap ahead is 2.1 seconds. Okay, this is good. You're catching the car ahead. Okay, good work. Great pass. We're approaching the pit window and you're going to be on mediums. Gap to the car in front is 2.7 seconds. If you continue to cut corners, the stewards are going to give you a penalty. Be careful. Gap to your teammate ahead is 12.5 seconds. Be aware, the grip levels are going to start falling away soon. left this lap, so push now, push. Okay, gap to the car ahead is 5.0 seconds. Look after these tyres now and you want to finish the race on this compound. Max is coming in for his stop. Okay, here's the gap that we're trailing the car ahead by, 2.0 seconds. Nice work, mate. That brings you up a place. Car behind's just boxed for mediums. Car behind on the medium tyre now. Okay, keep an eye on that gap ahead, please. 5.9 seconds. The car behind is dropping back by about 0.3 a lap. Well done. Starting to catch the car in front, but we need to look after the tyres. We won't be making another pit stop. Okay, so the gap to the car ahead, 5.8 seconds. 5 laps of fuel remaining. Okay, we've been given a time penalty. It will go against our finishing time at the end of the race. Get your head down and let's get it done. And gap to the car in front is 6.8 seconds. Caution, caution. Green flag. Okay, gap ahead is 8.1 seconds. Okay, just 2 laps of fuel remaining now. Okay, you just started the final lap of the race. Final lap. Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
as they climb out of the car. The Red Bull team are ready and waiting to celebrate a thoroughly deserved win. Red Bull are our winners today after showcasing some incredible driving. It's been a huge push from them lately to stay competitive with the other teams, and they're certainly proving themselves. So let's have a look then at the drivers' standings. Max Verstappen should be pleased with his performance, making gains at the top of the table. Let's focus on driver of the day, Natalie Pinkham. Come on, who do you pick?
Often, my go-to would be a driver who's managed to pull off an especially impressive feat during the race. However, in this instance, I was more impressed by Max Verstappen's solid, clean driving throughout the event.
It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. Red Bull pull further ahead in the standings. There is also a strong showing from the Mercedes team today as they make their way up the standings. Been an absolutely wild weekend of Formula One action. I can't wait to see what's next.
Our new parts have completed without issue. They'll be on the car ready for the next race weekend. Thanks. I appreciate you taking the time to help out.